Yeah, we're live now.
All right.
That'll do the business.
Good to see you, Ian. Yeah, you as well.
Oh, let me get there. Sweet.
Cool.
Welcome everybody
Hey.
to episode 2 of the Loose Barrel Podcast, where you scream, I scream, we all scream for S-Scream.
It's like a new sign.
And no one's gonna watch now. That's the key. That's how I get comfortable. I make sure nobody's watching.
That's right. Just throw those jokes out there.
No, welcome. We have Mr. Ian Dube with us.
Bullshit.
Who coaches with me in Charleston at Edge of America Fencing Club. So, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
How was work?
Work was pretty good today. It was a big cleanup day, but I got to avoid that for a really long time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You took a big dump?
No, I waited until I got home.
Oh, that was always my thing.
No, it's a good strategy.
Friday afternoons.
Friday's half day,
about that
so
time.
I don't really have to pick out the big guns.
Had a big lunch.
Yeah.
Except now I don't work, so that really doesn't help me out at all.
Well, you can get out of whatever other responsibilities you have.
No, it's good, yeah. Well, that's exciting. Are you still enjoying what you're doing?
Very much so.
Good. Tell the people what you do.
I do restoration of old houses, specifically plaster repair in
Nice.
old houses.
Very good.
Working in
It's like decorative work?
a lot of decorative work. Crown molding, medallions, cool stuff like that.
Okay, what do you think about this nice white wall?
It could use some attention. Yeah, we do level 5 skim on it, throw some molding up there,
Well, it's got this antiquing of like dust,
Yeah.
which I think is really unique.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got this nail that looks like it's been painted over twice.
Yeah, that's good though.
I think so.
And it lets you know it's a good sturdy nail. It's not coming out.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should go to fencing stuff since this is a
Sure.
fencing podcast. That would work. How about let's start with the knack
All right.
that just came around
Yeah.
to Charlotte. Is the closest thing that's ever going to come to us.
Yep. Yeah, which is exciting.
I think the last time something was in Charlotte, as far as like that, was a nationals, like in early 2000s.
That's from what I hear is before my time in this area.
So it took 19 years.
19 years. That's all right. We
That's
can
a
wait
shame.
another 19.
God, they barely come to Atlanta too. The last one was in Atlanta was like 2010, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sure.
Summer Nationals in 2010.
Summer Nationals 2010. That was still the year before I moved down.
Yeah, because that's when I broke my foot, and I still fenced, and I did poorly.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
Well, it's tough to force that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But
Mobility.
how was your experience?
My experience was good. I enjoyed it. This was 4 years since my last attempt at a knack. So it was really good to see the progress that I've made personally with my fencing as I continue to make progress. It was definitely an eye-opening experience. It was cool to see a lot of the local players and regional players in the national scene. There's those who are more familiar with it, definitely sharing their knowledge with those who don't get to experience it as much.
Sure.
So it was cool. It was very cool.
Well, let's talk about your last one. When was the last one?
Sure. The last one, I think it was 4 years ago, was in Virginia Beach. So I think it was this same knack that they usually do, but instead of it being in Virginia Beach this year, it was down here.
Oh, the
Charlotte.
Div 1 junior knack.
It was another Div 1 junior. That was, I was a C, but I was still able to fence in the Div 1. So that was what I did.
Sure, because when you
jumped
get it,
right into the right into the pot.
trial by fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Oofta.
And it was a similar experience turnout-wise on terms of results.
For you? Oh,
yeah,
I got it.
Similar. I had no wins in my pool there, but same this time I got knocked out.
Yeah.
But just the big takeaway from that was when I got knocked out of that one, I was really happy because I just went to go experience it.
Yeah.
And I had absolutely no clue why I did so poorly. And this time everything was a lot clearer. I could see a lot of what was going on in the bouts at that high level of fencing. So it kind of gave me a good takeaway from it again.
Now, was this actual fencing or was this epee?
Actual epee fencing. Yeah. It was the real deal. Where the real fencers.
I have to make that joke. Like it's I have to.
You're 2 for 2 now. You gotta keep it up.
Did I make another epee joke already?
I think it was under your breath, but I think you made an
Oh.
epee joke on the last podcast.
Oh, on the last one, but not on this one.
Not
It's
yet.
a clean slate every time.
Yeah.
People will forgive me.
I don't know if I'll forgive you.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Long term, maybe, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
I'm going to be butthurt for now.
Yeah. The national events for us
Mm-hmm.
in South Carolina are hard.
Very much so.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the amount of fencers that are here that compete at a high level, and then we have to go to that. It's an eye-opener.
Yeah.
But I think it's necessary. I mean, my first one was a Junior Olympics. It's just not really a knack in itself because everyone has to qualify. So there's a lot of really good fencers that don't get to qualify because they're in an area where there's tons of top fencers.
Yeah. But you had good results when
I
you
had
did it.
really good results. Yeah. So I was excited. But then when I went and I did a Junior knack, and then my first Div 1 knack,
Changed the game a bit.
well, I mean, because in Junior Olympics, at the Junior Olympics, there's people in there who aren't. I don't want to say that, but there's people like me at the time. I was a D, and should I have been fencing A's and B's at that time at that level? But I don't know. But I mean, I was lower person in my pool, but I still squeaked out 4 wins in my first.
That's great. Then you should have absolutely been fencing.
Oh, that's fine.
Because I mean, if I had that takeaway from this experience and the last experience, well, I wouldn't have done this experience because I would have gone and been like, oh, I'm not good enough to fence these people, so I'm never going to do it again. But I don't think that should ever be on anyone's radar. I mean, set your expectations for that for sure. But
the knacks, in my opinion, for people who have never done them before, I have found that people either get there and they do poorly and they have 2 different mindsets afterwards. They're either like they now know the gulf in between me and people who are fencing other places in New York, California, all those other places, New Jersey, or and they get motivated to do better, or they see that and they get really discouraged.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that.
Seeing people get discouraged.
I like seeing those 2 responses. Because I think the first response is the one where a fencer's the real deal.
Absolutely.
That's all. The mental game is if you get defeated like that, are you gonna walk away and be super sad and bummed out about it? Or are you gonna work? You're gonna see that and you're like, now I know the level that I have to rise to.
Yep. Yeah, and
I have to make up.
It's one of the most unfortunate things to see at the club level, at the local level, is when fencers have good results early, especially in a club, because you fence the same people so much, and so you get to know certain things, and all that fencing is really training yourself, to these responses.
Sure.
And so if you train yourself to like 5 different fencers who fence regularly at your club, you might get good at fencing those 5 fencers.
Right.
Doesn't make you a good fencer, and so you see people who have those results really early, and then I don't know if it's a subconscious level or if they actively make this decision not to compete very much. And it's like you have no clue what your actual fencing ability is until you take it out against people you don't know of all different types and styles and training and levels of experience. And that's I feel like what like true fencing is.
Yeah.
For sure. And those are the type of people that I think often would get discouraged because they inflate their ego in the club, and then they go out and get trashed, and then they come up with some excuse for it, and walk away, their head hung low.
I think that's any sport though. If you get trashed too much and you don't have the right mentality to pick yourself back up.
Yeah, but like you said, you find a true fencer when you find someone who comes away from it motivated, ready to work on something new.
How was the team? You like doing team?
I do normally like doing team.
Normally? Ooh.
I felt really poorly about it this time, from my own part.
Sure. You're not blaming the others in your team?
No, not at all. No, 100% not. I was
trying to lead you into that. If Michael's watching.
If any of you guys are watching.
He's probably not watching. No, just go ahead and trash him.
Well, I'm gonna send him a link.
I'm just kidding. We love you, Michael Edgecombe.
No, I loved all my teammates. It was a great experience for that, and which is why I do like doing team events. Michael Edgecombe put us together with Stephen Kimmick, and then we grabbed, I hope I pronounced his last name right, and then we grabbed Daniel Johnson last second too, because we were trying to get you to do some dirty epee, but wouldn't happen.
No.
But no, thankfully we had Daniel there for moral support, and he helped out a lot. He got footage of everybody. It was great. We came up with the decision to make me the anchor, which I feel poorly about now in retrospect.
Well, you're not the team captain. You didn't make that decision, right?
True, but I agreed to it, and I wanted to show that I was confident, because I was confident, but I was also at the same time, I think, working with sort of a cool down mechanism when if I'm going to go out there and I'm going to lose for myself and an individual.
Sure.
I don't worry so much about I guess caring too much about it or whatever, because it's just my own emotions. But going out there for a team, I was trying to not get too anxious about it, and I feel like I went in there like way too cold, and didn't bring kind of like the heat that I brought the next day. I did not fence as well as I did that first day on the team, so I did poorly for my teammates.
Did you warm up too soon? Did you have to wait too long?
And we didn't get a ton of time with the warm up. I think just the way it worked out.
Because at some of those knacks for the team events, you just never know.
Yep.
You're gonna get called, and you get called. You could be waiting a long time in between the first ever team bout that they do to the last one.
Yep. Yeah. And it's tough because it's you're right into the direct elimination. You're win or go home, and we put up a good fight, especially for my performance. I think we held them within 10 points, so it wasn't like a runaway. I want to say it was like 37, maybe 37 to 45. So
they can just be tough because you can stick around for a little bit, and then the matchups start happening where people just don't fence well against this type of fencer, and then they take it and they run.
Yeah, and that was another part that I felt a little bit poorly about, was that when it came down to the last bit, there was the option to put Daniel in there, but I was wanting to prove myself as the anchor, and so I stayed on when I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But oh well, lesson learned.
Yeah, teams are tough. I've only done the one at Summer Nationals, and we did not fare very well.
No. Who was on your team?
Daniel McCogan.
Oh, that's right.
Luke Kinney.
Yep.
And then we also had Sean Givens.
Oh, that's right.
As well. He was there. We weren't sure. Luke was fencing epee, but that was delayed for so long, and we weren't sure if he would be fencing a DE or not at the time of when our bout was considered. Because when you do the team, it's just whenever they have a strip.
Yep.
So it was like, Sean was there, and we're like, so we got him set up to do it.
Yeah. Did everybody end up fencing? Did you do?
Yeah, we subbed in. We subbed in Sean.
Cool.
The other team was just a lot more serious about it.
Yeah.
They were good though.
Yeah. I think we fenced one of NYU's teams. It was like NYU 2. They were good fencers, man.
Yeah.
They were good fencers. They knew what they were doing. And one thing that this is a good takeaway from that, was watching them like kind of strip coach each other, and like the advice that they were giving was really good. Like they never stuck on anything too specific. They weren't like overly wordy with what they were saying. And every time they gave advice, like I was listening from the other side, trying to find something that that I could take advantage of, and maybe once or twice it helped me, but really overall it was just really simple, good advice, when to push, when to pull, all that kind of stuff. Their team dynamic was good to watch. So there's some good takeaways there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's team's weird. I think team's really cool at like local levels where you have it's a little more relaxed, and you have a little more of a time of when things are working.
Yeah, you can kind of see everything clearly in the room, and it's pretty straightforward. Definitely would like to see more of those.
Yeah, it's just a fun format.
Yep.
Because you can have people anchor and different matchups and things like that in the subs.
Mm.
I wish there was more at the local level.
Yeah. Well, we have space to create a little bit of that.
I was gonna say there should be a club that just steps up and just does some things.
Power Olympics had a team event every time. We can bring that back.
Oh, that last one was a long time ago though.
It's true.
How long ago was that? 5 years? 6 years?
The last actual Power Olympic. Well, we're sorry.
No, the last one with a team.
I was gonna say the last one with a team was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. Back when Dad was doing it.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Only Abe though.
Yeah, I had Bob was on my team, and then somebody else too was on my team as well. It just got chosen for me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would just make a team day of.
Yeah. Well, some people didn't. Some people made because we fenced a team from Columbia Fencers Club.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. They had a couple fencers.
The last time I did it with at the Pirate Olympics with the team event, I had to leave before our team bout was done. No, we won one, and we were going to go on to the next one, and I had to leave to go to work.
Oh, nice.
So someone filled in for me. I was on a team with David Husky and Scott, I think. I don't remember who filled in. I think it was someone who got knocked out. One of the kids at our club back then.
Yeah.
At Dueling Society.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Short-lived.
Was it short-lived? They were around for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Short-lived in my life.
Oh, I guess that's true. I remember them being around for a little bit of time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bitter. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I wouldn't say that you're bitter, but someone might. Someone might. Nobody knows what we're talking about at this point. Well, a few people,
yeah, we can pass
but they're not watching. They're too old to watch.
No explanations needed.
No.
Yeah.
I just insulted all the old people. I'm sorry. I know you're good with technology.
That's right.
After somebody shows it to you twice.
I think my mom is better at technology than I am.
Than you are?
Yeah. I think I can confidently say that.
That's good.
Yeah.
There are some people that surprise me.
Yeah.
We used to have at the clinic that I worked at, we would have a tech guy come in, and he was old.
Yeah.
And it was surprising how well he, knew some stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, gee, knew more than I did, but
yeah.
I just he just didn't fit the type.
No, for sure. I think
stereotyping is poor.
Yeah, it's true.
But I guess some people, if they joined the bandwagon in the 80s and then they just kind of rode it, and now they're those people are the old people.
Yeah.
They know all this stuff.
Or it's like someone who's like crap company that they worked for for 25, 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
Fired them or something, or did some changeover, and they're like, well, I'm going to go back to school. And they were like, tech is big. If they were smart, you know what I mean? They'd be like, tech is big. Go back if you like.
Fix it.
Yep.
People are idiots. They don't know how to fix things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you start fencing?
I started fencing just north of Boston in the Center School in Peabody, Massachusetts. I was
Say
10
that
years
town
old.
again?
Peabody. As the locals call it. Peabody.
It's a little, okay.
Peabody, Massachusetts.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is where I grew up, and I was extremely fortunate to have an Olympic gold medalist and her coach who resided in our town. So the coach was Joe Paczynski. I only ever knew him as the grumpy guy that I was afraid of.
Okay.
But heard later in life he was a really, really sweet person. I think they did a write-up of him when he passed away in the American Fencer magazine. And so Molly Sullivan was my coach. I think she goes by Molly Sullivan Sliney now. She got married. I think she was really young back then. I think she was freshly out of doing Olympic stuff. So it was kind of crazy. It didn't dawn on me
And she had the medal, or her?
She did.
Okay.
Olympic gold, I think, in women's foil.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was cool. I learned a lot.
One can only dream.
Yeah.
Get a gold.
I don't know, man.
And the best weapon.
If I stuck in that area, who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got a great.
Is it a small town?
No, it's a pretty big,
okay.
pretty big city. It's kind of considered one of the melting pots in and around Boston. So there's a lot of people, a lot of different cultures and stuff. It's a cool place. Most people know Salem, Massachusetts, so I always claim that as my home.
Oh, I see.
is where I was born, so
That's where the witch trial was. That makes sense.
very spooky. Popular
Is
in the
it?
fall.
Is it really spooky?
It's not really spooky, but
Oh.
it's. I mean, that time of year, the whole town gets decked up in Halloween stuff.
Mm.
It's fun.
Back on track.
Back on track.
How long did you fence there with your gold medal coach?
I fenced there for 2 years, I think, doing like once a week. I only ended up doing like a couple tournaments, but I remember I retained a lot from it, and I think I remember being one of the only kids that was like applying it well, because every time I would end up at competitions, or they would suggest me go to like different practices or go here or go there. It was usually like me and then a bunch of older people, like
Sure.
adults. I did one tournament where I think I was the only kid there, but it was an open like dry tournament or something like that.
A dry tournament.
Yeah, so no booze, no one was drinking, especially not the 10-year-old.
Safe Sport would have a fit.
Yeah. No, it was kind of cool. It was in an armory, so there's like knights in armor and like cool stuff like that around.
That is kind of cool.
I remember it being very dark, and I beat a lot of people. I think because they didn't want to hit the little kid.
No, that makes sense.
But,
I mean, sometimes little kids are hard to hit, though.
It's very true. Very true. I've experienced this myself.
I actually do pretty well against little kids now.
Yeah.
I struggled for a long time. I do better now.
I had a really good revelation at a tournament in Durham. I don't remember which one it was. I don't think it was the Big Blue, but it was recently. And it was me and another older guy in our pool. I say older by like above 20.
Sure.
Because I'm sure it was Tom Bryant. I'm sure he would not be happy to be called older. So I'll clarify. But it was the two of us in the pool, and we had like a bunch of young kids.
Yeah.
And we were having difficulty with them, and I figured out just to aim at their shoulder.
Yeah.
And just hit them in the shoulder.
Pick them off.
Yeah, because there's a lot of ink horchata.
Yeah, I do find it weird. I'm not singling out Tom Bryan or any old person
Sure.
like that, but there's a stage at anybody's age where they start calling themselves old, but then when other people call them old, they get insulted. So I don't know how that correlates. I don't know how that works.
Sure.
There's a lot of people my age and younger who call themselves old, and I'm almost 30.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we're so old now." I'm like, "Dude,
No.
we're not old. I am 30. It's
Yeah.
like I've never felt old. I don't feel old.
Yep.
None of my stuff is cracking."
Nope.
I think it's one of those things where people get to a certain age, and because everyone else has always said that they were old at certain, they're like, "Oh, we're so old." It's like a badge of honor. But then somebody
Sure.
calls them old,
Yeah.
and then they get all upset for some reason. Like, whatever.
I think, especially in the fencing community, it's a sandbagging technique.
Oh yeah,
I
sure.
get it all the time. Anyone who's older than me always says like, "Oh man,
When you get this age,
I'm hurting so bad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fence you. This is gonna be so tough." And then they come out of the gate like tearing it
Yeah.
up, giving you everything they've got.
yeah,
It's like it's all a ploy. It's just trying to make you feel bad for them.
yeah.
Lies.
So then I don't think they should be offended if you call them old.
That's right.
It's not like you mean to call them old. It just slips out. Like, you're the older dude.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if I would be offended if somebody called me old.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm old, but
I don't feel old, but I consider myself older than a lot of these kids that you see at tournaments.
oh
and
well,
stuff.
yeah,
So
the
you
ones
end
that can fence,
Yeah.
multiple events in a day and
Yeah.
eat garbage food at these convention
and
centers.
still operate quite well.
Yeah, I don't know how they do that. I see them sucking down chicken tenders and French
Yeah,
fries and
soda.
then jumping around like I would throw up.
Yeah.
Even when I was that young, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
I remember vividly coming to the Nax as a kid and
Yeah.
saying, I don't want to eat that. That looks greasy as all get out.
I definitely try and stay away from the greasy food, but I will admit that I usually fence on a fuller stomach.
I mean, afterwards, yeah, I'm going to eat that burger, but
Yeah.
during and that's going to be sloshing around in my stomach? No.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. I think this sport has an issue with nutrition.
Do you think it's...
Not at the high levels, but I think nutrition should be more key for this
Sure.
sport,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
No,
I mean, we have one whole weapon that just jump ropes for a whole bout. I mean, they shouldn't be fencing on stuff like that. I'm not going to say what weapon.
we all know you're talking
We
about
all
Saber.
know. Yeah. I mean, gee, I couldn't imagine eating a cheeseburger or chicken tenders and then fencing Saber
Oh my God.
at that level. I
No.
mean,
That would make me sick.
just your food would be a foot behind you by the time you're
Yeah.
done lunging. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The speed that it happens at.
Sure.
But
Just all that extra gear too.
yeah, I just I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
feel like people need a better job of
Well, maybe you need to
nutrition.
bring some nutrition specialist onto your podcast to tell
Maybe.
all of the fencing people about proper nutrition.
Yeah, that's what I like about Joe Rogan's podcast is he always has people talking about what they eat.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We can talk about what I eat if you want.
Okay, what do you eat? What did you eat today? Let's start with just today. What did you eat today?
I ate a lot of pasta today.
Did you really?
Yeah, I always eat a lot of pasta.
For breakfast?
No, not for breakfast.
What did you eat for breakfast?
For breakfast, I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana.
I like that you're bucking the trend that peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a breakfast food.
Yeah.
I don't adhere to the fact that certain foods are certain
Day of the day.
yeah, well, just breakfast or lunch or dinner. Like,
I mean,
I think
breakfast
that's
for dinner
dumb.
is great.
Well, I know, but I mean, in my mind, it's just food for dinner.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Who gets to claim that eggs, bacon, pancakes are
Yeah.
breakfast food? It's just food.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like it's been about like.
arguably bacon's terrible to eat for breakfast because you get tired and lazy from all the grease in your stomach.
That makes sense.
And eating a whole stack of pancakes for breakfast and you're tired, you get to school like
That never made sense to me. I never understood
it's
why
gone,
like
yo.
every TV show and movie in like the 80s and 90s growing up,
Yeah.
someone's got like pancakes out on the table when the kids are going to school. Like, you gotta eat your breakfast. It's like, who the hell cooks pancakes
Well,
during the weekday?
I mean, stay-at-home housewives from like this
Probably
50s,
what it was.
60s. It's,
Yeah,
I mean,
that makes sense.
it's a different time back then.
Not
That's all they did.
applicable anymore.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, it is what it is.
true.
Anyways, I think I asked Bobby this too. What do you eat on a day when you fence?
On a day when
What's
I
your
fence-
prep?
All right. I've sort of dropped away from any habits, but it used to be in the mornings I would try and get some eggs.
That was loud.
I really like to have the protein. I'd try and get like some yogurt or something. Sort of settle.
Like regular yogurt or like Greek yogurt?
I mean, anyone would be good,
Hmm.
but I guess a lot of it I'm thinking of like when you're traveling for tournaments.
Sure.
So you're usually like at like a hotel
Yeah.
breakfast kind of thing.
What are the Greeks call Greek yogurt? Just yogurt?
I'm trying to think of a funny way to pronounce it, but I can't pull out a Greek
I
accent.
don't know.
right now, I'm sorry.
Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
Side tangent. If anybody knows, comment below.
There you go. Yeah, get on there.
Appreciate you.
I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know. I've had some greasy breakfasts before. I'm not gonna lie,
It's rough though.
and been okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just okay?
Well, I think I fenced well actually.
Yeah.
I
Well, okay
realized-
is not well.
So I have this whole thing where I've got a little bit of an iron stomach. So kind of aside from like the eating too much,
Sure.
I haven't noticed too much
Right.
of a difference. I have noticed though when I'm very very hungry.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I like to keep with me at tournaments is I usually have a good like healthy trail mix. By healthy meaning like not pounded with sugar and chocolate and like all that. kind of stuff.
M&Ms.
M&Ms, which are tasty. I love that trail mix, but I'll leave that
You
behind.
ever had a trail mix with Reese's Pieces instead of M&Ms?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I love Reese's. Never been a fan of Reese's
No?
Pieces. Don't know why.
Lack of chocolate, I guess.
Maybe.
Because the
Makes sense.
chocolate peanut butter combo. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
It's important.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I used to do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if I was doing like a long day tournament.
Sure.
But I kind of don't need that anymore. Usually it's just fruit and some trail mix.
So I think you should have habits.
Yeah.
I mean, you should eat everything the same.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how would you know if you have a poor day and your diet changed?
And you know. If
You
that's
should
why.
know if it
Yeah.
was, oh, did I eat because I eat this?
Sure.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm so like, not that I fenced any this year, but when I do fence,
But you have
everything I have is a set in stone down to what shirt I wear.
between bouts, between touches.
Between bouts, new socks. I mean, that way if I know, like,
Yeah.
you know, there's nothing that's changed, so I
Sure.
know if, you know, I like to have a regimen of what I do,
Yeah.
and I feel like it you know, helps my performance if there's one thing I don't have to worry about. It's like, you know, the stories of like people talk about like Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg
Sure.
and how they only ever wear jeans and a shirt or whatever. Or it was for
It's a secret
Steve
to their
Jobs, it was
success.
jeans and his black
his black.
turtleneck.
Was it a
You wore,
turtleneck?
I think it was a turtleneck.
It might have been turtleneck.
You know, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One thing they don't have to worry about during the day because every day it's the same thing.
I'm not gonna lie. There is a certain amount of anxiety to getting dressed every day.
You know what I mean? So
That's true.
that I have this regimen when I fence.
You don't
I know
have to worry.
exactly what I'm doing all the time. So it's the one less thing I have to worry about as far as,
Yeah.
oh, was it the eggs or was it this or
Definitely.
I know exactly
Yep.
what I'm
It's
getting.
Definitely something to be said for that, for having that routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I mean, after a whole bunch of tournaments, especially one if like you run out of energy
Mm-hmm.
or you're just tired or like you're sluggish and you're just like, okay, was it the food that I ate? Like,
Yeah.
or is it just because I'm overexerting?
Sure.
Did I not exercise? You know, did I not prepare properly for this tournament? If everything stays the same, you know,
Yeah.
there's less that it could be that you can narrow things down.
Sure.
That was your problem.
I think that is definitely useful for a certain personality type, because I think I was just thinking about it while you were talking, and I feel like my whole mentality is, and possibly to my own detriment, but is very far away from like that control factor. Like to me, a lot of the times it's like I'm gonna show up, and what I've got is what I got, and so I tried not to put too much on like, oh, it was because I ate that, because I've had that happen to me. But I won't name this person, not necessary. But I had a good back and forth with a fencer from our area. For a while at tournaments, we would always end up fencing each other, and fairly evenly matched. And so we would go back and forth, and this person would have a lot of wins, and I would have a lot of wins, and we were on a swing back where this person had beat me a few times, and I was really focusing on this bout that we were about to have, and I was looking to win, obviously, and I really searched for exactly where I had gone wrong in the past and what to eliminate, and like just trying to control my bout.
Right.
And I was very, very proud of myself after this win, because it was a close match. I think we finished 14-15, but I had felt in control the whole time, and I felt like I was focusing on the right things. So I was very proud of this win. And as we're shaking hands to step down, this person said to me, oh man, I shouldn't have ate that donut. And I was just so pissed. Like it's one of the only times that I ever wanted to like start just swearing at somebody and like throw all.
You just took this win away from me.
I was like, why would you do that? Like, yeah, I was just like, I'm just coming into this feeling really happy about what I just did, and you just made an excuse for it like that, like immediately. Not like, hey man, good job. Also, it was just like first thing out of his mouth. Like,
see, for me, that's the same reason I do all this. Is I don't want any excuses. Yeah. Other than me.
But that's what I'm saying, is that shouldn't be an excuse.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I don't I don't allow those things to if anything happens, I know for a fact it was me, so that I can take full responsibility for my fencing. Yeah. You know, a lot of people will be like, oh, this blade, this blade. I hate that. What was the saying? Just like only a fool blames his tools or something like that. You know, something like
100%.
A master never blames his equipment. I don't know how it goes. Yeah. If
you
know, also please comment down below so I do know, so I don't mess it up.
We need to write these things.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of glossary for these fencing sayings, or I guess any sayings. I mean, because you don't have to be a master, but either or. But yeah, I just think having some sort of a regimen, it just pains me when I walk around seeing these kids eating this garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. There's probably a lot of those same kids that walk home bummed out, not knowing why.
Well, cause, I mean, if you eat that heavy food, chicken tenders, cheeseburger, in between pools and DEs, your body takes so long to digest that food, and digesting food takes a lot of energy from your body. And I mean, they're kids, like they're gonna have tons of energy, but imagine they could have more energy, and then at a certain point they're gonna crash. And that could be after they lose their first DE. That could be before the finals. Who knows? Like, and you crash, it's hard to like spike that back. Like once you crash, it's hard. Like you can eat 2 bananas, and that banana's gonna bump your sugar up, but you're still in the crash. Like it's hard to rebound after that. Yeah. So I mean, I for the most part eat on a fence on an empty stomach. Yeah. If I do fence, I eat a medium to small meal, comprised of easily digestible food, eggs, fruit, light bread if any, hours before. I mean, at least 3 hours before. That way, by the time I get there to warm up, it's all digested, it's all gone, And then periodically while I'm fencing, I munch on simple sugars, blueberries, bananas.
Food, right?
You know, that way it there's not enough sugar that it crashes me, but it's just enough to kind of keep my stomach somewhat empty, but also keep my sugar up.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to manage, man.
That's what I found worked for me, and I haven't changed it in like a decade. I swear, the same thing for a decade.
Yeah. Well, if it works,
I think it does.
If it ain't broke,
I've been wearing the same Liverpool stuff for a decade too. Like
superstition, but
yeah,
still,
it's also worn too.
Yeah.
I need to buy a new kit.
Yeah.
I haven't bought one in a few years. No, 2013 is the last time I bought one.
Do they have that kind of stuff at the that fan place right next door to the club?
No. That's all like American sports.
Yeah, that's what
it's all. Yeah, they're all big into CTE
Football.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's just, I don't know. That's the way to go. I think there should be some education regarding nutrition.
For sure. Clinics or
I think
something like that.
I think as more as our
clubs.
kids get closer to that, I think that should be a big thing.
I was gonna ask if you had yet, but I would guess that maybe Luke would be your biggest opportunity to try and put that stuff into play.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
About what he eats. It's mostly the same thing that he eats.
Yeah.
And he never seems to run out of energy, so it's not. And he doesn't eat trash food like when we're at the Knacks. He's never getting those chicken tendies or whatever. I mean, just so he normally eats pretty good, especially if I'm with him, because he knows I'm big into it.
Sure. Yeah.
He'll make some good choices, and
well, that's a good thing that you can do as a coach.
yeah, I think the worst thing that he eats probably is he comes to the tournaments with those like fruit snacks.
Oh yeah.
Which is, I mean, is not that bad, but any of the fake sugars or I think it's not great. But I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean,
because you're gonna burn it up. Anything that's there, it's just you're gonna burn it up quicker than.
Yeah, I think the faker your sugar,
Yeah.
I think the more likely you are to crash though. But
Yeah.
he's not a big eater while he's fencing either. He fences on mostly an empty stomach, but
I can't.
he eats a lot of like peanut butter bagels before we go.
All right.
Peanut butter sandwiches and things like that. He keeps it fairly good, I think.
Yeah.
He's not sucking down burgers in between pulls and D's.
As enticing as it is.
Yeah. I just, even if I was into chicken tenders and burgers, and a lot of times I'm not fencing these days at the Knacks anyways, but those chicken tenders and burgers at the Knacks look disgusting. I mean, and for the price that you pay at the Knacks, at those convention centers for that food, I'm sorry. I'd rather leave, walk a mile downtown somewhere, and find something else for the same price.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I mean, I guess they have to do business, and they will do business, but at a sporting event, it just seems weird to offer that kind of stuff. It's like when you see like big athletes in their commercials, like repping McDonald's. Yeah. You know, it's just like, you don't eat that stuff. Let's be honest. I mean, unless you're Usain Bolt in Beijing and he lived off the chicken nuggets.
Did he really?
Beijing in 2008, he was so adverse to all the food.
Really?
Over there, he lived off of chicken nuggets, and that's where he got like all. You know, that's where he.
That's really surprising. Have you ever eaten at a Jamaican food restaurant?
No.
It's like interesting food.
Like, I'm sure, but
I'm surprised that
it seems like it would be different from Chinese food in Beijing.
No, but I mean, like, there's one of the things there's a Jamaican food restaurant if you're ever interested on Rivers. Can't think of the name of it.
Yeah.
But they have like chicken foot soup. And the only other place that I've ever seen chicken feet in cuisine is in like a Chinese New Year.
I wonder if Usain Bolt eats that though.
That's what I mean. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm assuming.
But there's the thing, and he's gone on record. You know, he's gone on saying that that's what he did too. Yeah. Like it was a story. Yeah. He lived off of chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
He gets his
he broke the. He
yeah.
got every single event that year.
Yeah.
He got gold. That in London, he did the same thing. It's crazy.
There's a certain amount where you just can't stop a human being that's like that good at doing what they do.
Yeah.
You're just like.
I guess that's true. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here talking that everyone should have a regimen for how they eat. He's breaking world records with chicken nuggets in his stomach.
Well, you know,
this whole podcast was just a dumb idea. Don't listen to me.
I've really got nothing to say here.
Yeah. Go watch Joe Rogan. He's a little bit better than I am. I got more hair though, so that's good.
There you go. That's That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about the little things.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Oh man. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So we got this club.
Yep.
That's pretty cool, huh?
I dig it. I'm into it, man.
Great transition.
Yeah.
Flawless execution.
Yeah, man. Edge of America Fencing Club.
Yeah, dude.
It's got a lot of momentum behind it. It's gonna be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah. 5 years ago, somebody tells you you're gonna be running a club.
Yeah, that's
That happening?
Hell no. Hell no. Yeah.
I tell everybody because people always ask about what's the deal with this club because
Sure.
we're I mean if you don't know we're very unlike a lot of other clubs in a lot of aspects, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
people always ask like what's up with this, and I was like, Ian and I really enjoy fencing,
Yeah.
and we really like coaching.
Yep.
We don't like any other part of running this club.
Like money or
just any administrative side of the work is
marketing.
just man, it's what marketing is not.
Exactly.
Somehow we're doing a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's been easier with Anne-Marie helping
I was
out.
gonna say we've gotten
She's
a
done
lot
some
of
good
help.
paperwork.
A
But
lot of help from Anne-Marie.
yeah, I go through these phases like mania where I'll like want to do all this stuff, and then that lasts for like 3 days.
Our club definitely grows in spurts. It's very spurty.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I just really enjoy coaching, and the paperwork stuff just comes second to everything else.
Sure.
But we get it done eventually.
Yeah, I think that's common for a lot of businesses that are formed around a passion or something that people are really like invested in.
Yeah.
And
we can do better though. I know we
for
can.
Sure.
So
yeah, and will.
yeah, I mean, I think it's the same reason why like same thing with like veterinarians. Veterinarians tend to be really poor business choices because they're so passionate with the work that they do. They give away things, they give away services, and then they're not making a lot of money on certain things, and then the business goes out and they have to sell it because they're poor thing. That's what the worst thing about veterinary medicine is. It's just you have to charge, otherwise you can't stay in business to give away those services. But
it is definitely
neither here nor there.
A tough lesson to learn is how to charge people for something that you care about.
Yeah.
Like, that you get a lot out of. You still have to put a monetary value to it.
Yeah.
And it shows too. The more that we've increased our, consistency in like pricing and like payments and things like that, the more attendance we get.
Yeah.
Because people take it more seriously. Like if you, especially with adults, if you offer them something at a discount, they're gonna be like, well, I don't have to go.
Yeah.
So it's definitely as we grow and things become more consistent and all that. I see it coming together and having really just sort of a system that works. We can just kind of fall into. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see what the next couple of years will hold with Anne-Marie coming in and helping us organize a bunch of stuff and just adding to our abilities to teach more people in more places. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it can be daunting sometimes. Thinking about it. So I try not to think about it as much. But
it's not at all easy.
No, it's a ton of fun though, and for the most part, I mean, I don't have any bad experience with the parents that we have either.
I think we've gotten really lucky.
I mean, the teenagers are a little when you coach them, but like with all the other, the parents are just super nice and appreciative that what we're doing and how we're doing it. I think
especially right now the people who are looking for like alternative sports, I guess, which is a shame that we have to talk about it like that. Like it's this weird thing.
Shoot, we're in the Olympics. Football's
man, come on.
Football's an odd
that's
sport.
The outsider.
Yeah, dude.
Not down here.
Do you want your kid not to have brain damage by the time they're 22?
Yeah. Fencing. Safe.
Yeah.
Safe sport.
Yeah.
No, but I think we've gotten really lucky because of the support that we've had from the parents and the patience, I think, mostly.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of patience with us.
Agreed.
Like, growing and changing and things like that. And I have to give a shout out to Scott for all that he's done for the club.
Thanks,
And
Scott.
Just being, I mean, we wouldn't really be doing
No,
anything if it wasn't for him. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
I tell everyone about Scott
he's a
when they
great
come
guy.
in. When they ask about the club, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
Scott. Like,
Yeah.
who's Scott?
I like
I've
that
never
he's a
met
mystery man.
Yeah, well, most people, like 3 people have met him. You know what I mean? He's just like, well, what does he do?
Yeah.
I'm like, what doesn't he
What
do?
doesn't?
Jeez, between racing
Yeah.
and
Last time.
Taylor Swift
Oh,
concerts,
man.
makes me jealous.
It's great when he shows up too, because people are just like, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yeah.
Like, it's Scott. Like, oh, it's Scott.
Thank you,
Oh
Scott.
my God.
All bow down.
All about it,
Our
Scott.
overlord, Scott. Appreciate you, Scott.
Yeah, I'd probably start a cult for him. Yeah,
Would you?
yeah.
Mm.
Why not?
I mean, people have started cults for a lot less,
That's right.
haven't they?
Yeah, as long as it makes people fence, that's all I really care about.
Yeah.
Makes them
Makes them.
against their will.
Uh, no. Yeah, we got some good stuff going on. Hopefully, you can get more people going out and fencing. There's a lot of my Y12 kids who want to start competing now, like
Yeah, perfect.
into it and really want to do it. And
Yeah.
So there's got to be some tournaments out there, and we got to put some stuff on.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, this year was a little rough.
Yeah.
But we'll get better. I mean, class just grows.
Yep.
And grows.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll get better.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully, all of South Carolina will get better too.
That's the goal.
I don't know. I'll have to ask all the other club owners if they're growing.
It seems like it. I mean,
I hope that they are.
we've
I mean,
got-
I just don't know. We see more competitive. Well,
Yeah.
some are competing, but
Yeah.
I'd like to know like their numbers as far as like who's coming out to practice.
Sure. That's why I'd like to see more statewide scrimmages
Yeah.
between the small foil group that we had going for a while. We should
Sure.
try and bring that back. I mean, it's harder now because you and I don't fence as much,
Yeah,
but
I don't really fence at all.
yeah, and it kills a little bit of it, but we should be able to
Yeah,
bring people to it.
yeah,
And then Jane's scrimmages that she was holding, those
Yeah.
were really good. I hope to see more of those. But yeah, it's tough because we're so far removed from the other side of the state, so like
Sure.
the northern aspect, to know what's going on with them up there, and they're probably so tightly tied to North Carolina that
yeah,
they don't require as much from South Carolina as I feel like we
sure.
Because for us, it's like 3 hours before you get to anything in Georgia,
Yeah,
or 4 hours really. I mean 5 if we're really, because Atlanta's really the most.
yeah. Unless you mean Augusta,
Oh, that's what I was
which
gonna say.
I always feel like Augusta's a part of South Carolina
Oh,
because
yeah,
it's
yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
It's a stone's throw.
yeah.
And but I mean, they're almost just as secluded from Atlanta as we are.
That's what I mean.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's
They're-
weird.
It's like a 2-hour, 2:30 drive,
Yeah.
maybe, depending on how fast you drive.
Have you ever drove to Florida to fence? You have.
Driven,
Right?
yeah.
Driven. Thank you.
There have been tournaments in Jacksonville has tournaments every
Yeah.
once or thrice a year,
Yeah.
and they pull some good fencers. I
bet.
fenced in Clearwater, which is south of Gainesville.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, that's on the Gulf Coast.
All right.
I've been to Gainesville a couple times by myself, and then Luke's been to Gainesville as well. And we've driven together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, the tournaments in Florida are no farther away than Atlanta.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
And they have some B1s, B2s,
Yeah.
A1, A2s, and
Yeah.
there's some good fences. I've never been like super south like Miami or anything like that, but like
That could be cool though for a city to visit.
yeah,
I have this bad habit that I'll admit to here, of being a
fencing
slight.
epee.
That's 3 now. You got 3 going. Of being a dirty epee fencer and being less experienced competitively. It's changing now, but it's taken a long time. But I have this bad habit of if something is unfamiliar to me, I write it off a lot quicker.
Sure.
So I'll see a decent tournament.
Yeah.
It's the same distance away as other tournaments I've gone to, but I'll be like, I've never been down to that club to fence,
Yeah.
and then I'll not do it. And I think that's dumb. I think it should be noted that that's dumb.
Yeah, I enjoy going to tournaments and clubs that I've never been to,
It's just so much
especially if I
fun.
don't see anybody that I know on the tournament list.
Yeah,
I like fencing new people,
yeah,
and I think it's just a fun experience to kind of have nobody there. I'm also not a real big social person when I go to fence somewhere,
Yeah.
and I really want to fence to earn something or do something. So it doesn't bother me either way, because if I go to a tournament where I do know people,
Yeah.
I'm not talking to them anyways that
Yeah.
much, other than some niceties,
No, that's good.
or unless I see Julio, because that's my hero.
There you go.
Julio,
We
if
can
you're
only-
watching,
We can only hope to see him.
yeah, he's not watching. He knows. I'm pretty sure. Love you, Julio.
I had a fun experience actually talking about going outside of this what I was just talking about, but it was a little bit different because I was back home. So I was going back home to New Hampshire. I had
Were you shipping up to Boston?
I was shipping up to Boston for the holidays.
Dumb reference.
Good song.
Who is this guy?
But I hadn't fenced up there for years and years and years, and I definitely didn't know anybody still from up there. And I went up and signed up for a tournament on, like, it was like the day after Christmas or something. It was, I think, it was probably, I don't know. It sounds about right, though. I think it was the day after Christmas. And I went up, like, took away some time from, like, a family gathering to do it. So I felt really bad, but it was totally worth the experience. Went up, fenced nobody that I knew except for one person, and it was the strangest thing. I tried talking with him. I was like, "Hey, you fence in Boston like 4 or 5 years ago?" He's like, "No, I'm from." He's like, "You're probably confusing me with someone else. I'm from North Carolina." And I was like, "Oh, funny you should say that."
That's how I know you.
That's how I know you. It was it was a fun experience.
Yeah, it's good. I think that when I was in high school, was I in high school? Probably. I was struggling to get my D. I had my E for maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, and I just, sometimes when you feel like you have something, it's just like it never happens. Like, it was just all these circumstances where I was never able to get it, and I was like, dang. I drove 8 hours. Was it 8 hours? I don't know. It was up into Virginia, so it could have been like 6 or 7. And I didn't know anybody at the tournament. But I fenced my socks off. Nobody could touch me. I was excited. So I think it was partially nobody had fenced me before.
Yeah, man.
Come out of nowhere. Yeah, it was like it was the weekend before New Year's too. It was like in between New Year's and Christmas.
Yeah.
It was that weekend, so it's like immediately I got a rating, and then like 5 days later it was an old rating.
Oops. Yeah. I know that.
But
is
yeah,
the,
I went up there,
downside.
and I was not gonna not get that D.
Yeah.
Because I think that was the year that I had first gone to my Junior Olympics. And I was like, I'm not going into the Junior Olympics with an E. I'll be the lowest seed.
But then sometimes you surprise people if you know you're a better fencer.
I didn't have to, because I got the D, and then, however that much helped me out. Half of my bouts in the pools, which was great. But no, sometimes it's nice just to not know anybody, and there's like nobody distracts you from like knowing anything. That's not the last time he beat me, and this time I beat him. It's just like there's none of that. There's such an uncertainty when you go in, and it just your instincts and your training take over. And your mind is just clear. And you just blaze through. It was Charlottesville. I remember because they had a rubber floor.
Ooh.
It was rubberized. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was almost like a Goodyear floor. It's like a gym, like a weightlifting gym floor.
Traction to it, right?
Yeah,
I've seen those
it was
before.
super
They're
sticky.
nice.
But there's no like, how like sometimes like on a gym floor, if it's nice and cleaned, where it's not like super slick, but you can make a lunge and still kind of go another 3 inches. There's like no slides, so it was like lunge, stop.
Actually, that sounds like that would be kind of brutal on the knees.
I don't know.
Jarring to stop going forward.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
But I did really well. Nobody was in touching distance of me.
Yeah.
It was nice.
That's cool.
And it was just I knew.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. So I just like going. I like doing that.
Sure.
Because I like getting into my own head.
Well, and again,
or getting out of my head by.
Like we were talking about earlier, I think you get the most realistic showing of what your fencing actually is.
So. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not any tricks that you use to beat people in your club that you know you can use. It's not them using those against you for when you're losing points. It's very much what you can see and what your opponent can see, and that's so much in fencing. Like what you show, what you can conceal, and like what you can observe in quick enough time.
Yeah.
And any preconceived notion is out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah. I felt like I had something.
Yeah, I think we could make it down to Jacksonville, because Jacksonville's not that much farther from Savannah, and Savannah's like an hour from here.
Yeah.
Jacksonville might be another hour 30.
Yeah.
Because I think Brunswick is roughly 45 minutes to an hour from Savannah, and then after that it's another 30 or 45 minutes to Jacksonville. So
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a 3-hour drive for a good tournament. Like,
Yeah.
that's worth it.
That's great.
You know, I mean, we're looking at 3 hours to, or 4 or 5 hours to Raleigh.
Yeah.
And other things like that. And sometimes,
Yeah, even Clemson is like 4 hours.
yes, and it's Clemson. Like, really, ugh. Dabo, get over yourself.
Yeah. I was gonna say
You won't
something
get into
earlier, to the point of that. When you were saying like people who are always like stuck on like, oh, this person beat me last time, and
sure.
I beat them, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. One thing that I notice and that I try to employ with our club, and maybe you do the same, is like a club mentality that stays away from like those kind of thoughts and that kind of thinking. Like, I mean, because I feel like that stuff can be born in a club setting, and where you're learning and you hear people talking like that, and
I just hate fencing him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It should never be that.
Yeah.
It should always be you fencing whatever you came to fence. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it comes up in certain clubs in ways that people think, where they get really like, I don't know, just like the expectations are really strong.
At that point, I feel like when people have said that, they've already lost.
Yeah, exactly.
They've already lost. I mean, it's just so mentally taxing to have to think about that.
Yeah.
Just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, who
You
cares?
shouldn't be surprised in a win. And it's something to say that you shouldn't maybe be surprised in a loss either, but you should. I mean, that sounds like you're counting on it.
Yeah.
Like because you shouldn't count it, but you should never be surprised in a win. You should always expect to be able to win every bout.
I think so.
Anyone's gonna have a bad day. Anyone's gonna have a good day, and why not have it be yours?
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, you should always expect to win.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be surprised to lose.
Yeah.
But it's not a guarantee. If it was a guarantee, you wouldn't fence.
Exactly.
You just skip
Be
on.
boring,
I beat him before.
Yeah.
I go right on to the next level.
Exactly.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I hate fencing him.
Yeah.
Well, then beat him to fence somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I
Get
mean?
over
Like,
it.
that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Mm.
It's tough. I mean, there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that don't. I don't know. When I was young, high school, college, I enjoyed fencing the people that beat me.
Yeah.
Because it was my chance to,
Yeah.
And I like to live up to. I like to think that I did a good job about doing all that stuff. But I don't know. I never hated fencing one
Any
particular
specific person.
It was always a chance to see what I knew now.
Yep.
That they can't handle or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you never fence the people that beaten you, you're never gonna fence. There's a ton of people out there who have beaten other people.
Yeah.
Everyone has to get whipped around at some point.
Yep.
Nobody goes into their first tournament jacked up and
The only constant
ready
is
to win.
change, man. You can always change.
yeah. So it is what it is.
Yep.
Cool, man.
I dig it.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, for sure.
I really appreciate it. I think that's right at an hour.
Is it?
Yeah, 3:04.
That's about where it be.
That's pretty good, dude. That's not too bad. I just like I feel like I could go on with people.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, nobody wants to sit here and listen to 3 hours of this dude.
Well, we can talk more about how long it takes to get from there to here in the South Carolina area.
That's true. Why are they talking about being secluded so much? God, he didn't win one bout at the neck. It's rough. I've been there though, dude.
I did win one bout at the last one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done. I remember going to Louisville. It was a junior neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I got stomped. I think there was 2 Bs, 3 As, and then me as a C.
Mm-hmm.
At the time. I'm not a C anymore, but and it was it was tough, man. But it's just I always found, not to go more long-winded, but I always found that my goals were always to make nice touches. If I could get beat 4-5 or 3-5, just were the touches that I got, were they oops, he messed up and I lunged and hit him, or was it I set this touch up, I got him to do 4 or 6-4 or something like that, and I nailed him. It's just like, you got to take solace in individual touches, because otherwise it's gonna be a long road.
Yeah, and that's
especially
I think
at
that
the beginning.
Back to the first point that I made about the nag.
Yeah.
In this bout, every touch that I made had sense to it, and I knew how it came about, how it happened. Same with the ones that were getting touches against me. I saw what was happening. I saw where I had stepped wrong.
Yeah.
And that was much different than the first time.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good takeaway.
Yeah, nice. Bring it right back around.
Yeah, bring it right back. All right, everybody. Well, I guess we'll sign off.
Yeah.
Ian Dube.
Peace. Thank you.
Yeah. Y'all have a good weekend.
Yeah.
And enjoy everyone fencing. Maybe I'll see you at Athens. No, you're not going to Athens.
Good luck.
I'll be going to Athens. So
all fencers.
if you're watching this and you had a terrible time, I'll be at Athens. You can tell me how terrible it was.
Give him advice.
You kept drinking water. All right, y'all.
Peace.